You've made a number of big moves and changes, in fact, in terms of the operating system around the iPhone in the past year, around privacy, specifically to give users the access and optionality to effectively say, no, I don't want to be tracked. We're starting to learn the impact of that, not just on users themselves, but on some of the companies and developers on your platform. Collectively, it appears that there have been estimates that companies like Facebook and Google and others have lost about $10 billion in revenue as a function of not being able to track users. Do you think that's a good thing?
I don't know about the estimates, Andrew, so I can't testify to those kind of numbers. But I think that from our point of view, privacy is a basic human right, and that the people that ought to be deciding whether the data shared is the person themselves. And so what we've been all about is putting the power with the user. We're not making the decision. We're just simply prompting them to be asked if they want to be tracked across apps or not. And of course, many of them are deciding no and never wanted to be. It's just that they didn't have a choice before. And so I feel really good, and I'm getting great feedback from users about having the choice.
Okay, so what do you do personally? And I will tell you, I oscillate. There's sometimes where I'll say you can track me while the app is open. Sometimes I say you can track me all the time. Very rare, actually, that I say you can track me all the time. And a lot of the times I say don't track me at all.
I do a combination of those two. And to me, it depends on the trust of the developer.
So that's a great question, though. But how do you know?
I'm not sure you really know definitively, but you have a feel. And I think the companies that are more trusted are likely getting very different results than those that are not trusted.
That's fascinating in terms of that trust. Obviously, one of the companies that's come under a lot of fire for trust is Facebook. When you think about what we've seen over the last several months in terms of news that's come out around mental health and the way teenagers use phones, but maybe more in particular use apps, I'm curious what your reaction has been to all of that.
I think mental health is one of the most important topics of the time. And I think it's been taboo for so long. It hasn't been out where people felt free to talk about it. And I think it deserves great research and study, and that all of us should care about making products that help people's mental health, not plays against that.
So you've worked on adding screen time and all sorts of other features. But then there are apps on the platform that now are raising questions, like Instagram, like Facebook. We've heard, Mark Benioff say that Facebook is the equivalent of a tobacco company. Does it make you rethink what apps are allowed on the platform?
It makes me rethink about the tools that we're providing and to make sure that we're providing great tools for people. Ultimately, I think it's the person's choice. But I know that when we implemented screen time, I found that I was doing things I didn't know I was doing. And so I think having sort of a truth point where you can't deny that you're spending X hours a week on things that you might not want to spend X hours a week on, or getting hundreds of notifications in a day. These kind of things, it's powerful what the data will do to your behavior. And I know that I've changed my behavior based on screen time.
I think social media apps represent, in terms of time spent, something like 40 or 50% of the amount of time on the service, and whether you think that's healthy.
I think it depends on the person, Andrew. I think it depends on what you're doing. I think if you're scrolling mindlessly or letting yourself be spun up on negativity, I think this is bad. I think it's bad for your mental health. I think it's bad for the people around you. But I think the person that ultimately has to decide that is that person. And what we have to do is provide the information for them to be able to do that.
One of the big debates over this past year has been about the App Store itself and the role and power that the App Store has. Obviously, there's an ongoing lawsuit related to Epic, but there's larger questions about platforms and the power and influence of those platforms. And I'm curious how you think about that. I wanted to mention just recently, Mark Zuckerberg, who was talking about his new Metaverse, said that this period has been humbling. And he said, living under their rules, I think he was referring to Apple, has profoundly changed my view on the tech industry.
I think for the App Store, Andrew, we invented the App Store to give people the ability to customize their phones more and to give developers the opportunity of a lifetime to bring their products to market. And if you look at it, when we started in 2007, we didn't have an App Store because we couldn't figure out how to achieve the security and the privacy that our customers would want from that. The following year, we opened the App Store, and we did so with a human review and rules. And if you now look at it, what that has done is we've gone from 500 apps to over 2 million. And so there's been an explosion of innovation in the area that have been great for consumers, and it's been an incredible business opportunity for developers as well. And so sort of everyone has won from this. But the only way it works is if you can have trust and confidence in that commerce solution. As you know, the internet has become a dark place in too many spots. And you don't trust that, you don't trust enough to put in your credit card data. You don't trust enough that things do what they report to do. And so having a place where that trust is built in has been really key for us, and key for developers and key for users. And so that's what the App Store is all about.
We got a couple of questions from readers ahead of this conversation, and one of them actually relates to this issue of giving users the optionality on the issue of privacy, and how you think about that relative to the optionality of what might be described as sideloading or the App Store. Effectively, the question is, in one case, you're effectively providing access to make your own choice, and in the other, you aren't. And why that is?
Well, I think people have that choice today, Andrew, because if you want to sideload, you can buy an Android phone.
Right.
You know, so that choice exists when you go into the carrier shop. If that's important to you, then you should buy an Android phone. From our point of view, it would be like if I were an automobile manufacturer of telling me not to put airbags and seatbelts in a car. You would never think about doing this in today's time. It's just too risky to do that. And so it wouldn't be an iPhone if it didn't maximize security and privacy.
What do you think about the issue of fees? Because, of course, that's central to the debate around the power, if you will, of having a store like this. Obviously, Epic has sued over it. People like Barry Diller have called it criminal to charge 30%. I've made the argument, by the way, if you went from 30% to 20%, invariably people would say it's still not low enough. It needs to get to 10%. And if you got to 10%, they'd say it needs to go to 5%. But is there a moment at which you say to yourself, your success is so great that the responsibility changes in some way?
Well, if you look at it, Andrew, 85% or so of the apps on the store, the commission is zero, because there's not digital commerce happening in the app. And so the vast majority are zero. And then if you look at the others, the vast majority of the developers, like 98, 99%, pay 15%. Because we announced the small developer program back at the beginning of the year, or back last year, and it was effective at the beginning of the year, and that lowered commissions from 30 to 15. We've also, over the years, changed things like subscriptions in the second year and beyond to 15%. And so commissions have only fallen. They only go down. And the way that I look at it is the most important thing for us is to maintain the security and privacy of the iPhone. That's the most important thing. Everything else can evolve. You know, we had the developers wanted to have more price points that they could sell the apps for. And so we're allowing more price points. And so you'll see, you've seen many changes in the past, and you'll see more changes in the future. But the most important thing, sort of our North Star, if you will, is about security and privacy.
While we're on the issue of payment, I have to ask, because we got a slew of questions about it. What's your thought on cryptocurrency right now, and potentially either accepting it through Apple Pay or otherwise?
It's something that we're looking at. It's not something we have immediate plans to do. I would sort of characterize it as there are things that I wouldn't do, like our cash balance. I wouldn't go invest that in crypto, not because I wouldn't invest my own money in crypto, but because I don't think people buy an Apple stock to get exposure to crypto. And so if they want to do that, they can invest directly in crypto or through other means. And so I wouldn't do that. And I'm not planning to, in the immediate future, to take crypto for our products as a mean of tender. But there are other things that we're definitely looking at.
Like what?
Like I wouldn't want to have anything to announce today.
Well, let me ask you a different question, because you just said that you might not do it personally. Do you own crypto, and any Bitcoin or Ethereum? Would you play around with this?
I do, yeah. I think it's reasonable to own it as a part of a diversified portfolio. And I'm not giving anybody investment advice, by the way.
When did you get interested in it?
I've been interested in it for a while. And I've been researching it and so forth. And so I think it's interesting.
A lot of people, I don't know if you've talked about this publicly before. Are people going to say that you're a Bitcoin bull?
I don't know what they're going to say. I don't want to put any labels on me. It's just that it's something that from a personal point of view, I'm interested in.
Well, while we're on the topic, what about NFTs? That feels like the next level of this.
I think it's also interesting. I think it will take a while to play out in a way that is for the mainstream person. But I think it's interesting.
A lot of people talk about NFTs in the context of VR and AR. We just heard from Facebook and Microsoft getting into the Metaverse. What did you think of those announcements, and how does Apple think about it?
Well, I wouldn't want to talk about those announcements, but in terms of we've always said that AR is a core technology, and it's a technology I get super excited about, and I think it's profound. And I think it's profound in terms of the things that you can do with it, and the enhancement to people's lives and the improvement in people's lives. But humanity has to be at the center of it. It's like any other technology. It has to be about humanity and helping humanity. And so you can bet that the way that we look at it is like that. But it's an area of great opportunity, I believe.
But do you think that there will be a day where we'll all wear, VR goggles and live in a digital universe?
All is a big word. It's a very big word. And I think there has to be advancements in technology that are beyond what is possible today. But I get back to AR today is alive and well. You know, we have the largest AR platform on iPhone, and you can do things today that a few years ago you couldn't imagine doing. Like if you're shopping for furniture, you can look at the new sofa in your room. If you're designing a home or designing a home for someone else, it's a great use of AR. And so there are things that are possible today, and I think that just becomes more and more exciting as time goes on.
I know you hate to answer questions about cars, but I am so curious about your cars or about the expectation of cars. Is there anything you can tell us?
No, you know, we try not to talk about the future too much because we've got so much going on in the current day that we try to be secretive about the future. And so I don't have anything to share today. It wouldn't be us if we didn't keep something up our sleeves.
Okay, let me try out this then. I think it was about a couple of years ago now, as you know, Elon Musk, because he's been public about it, said that he tried to get a meeting with you to sell Tesla to you, in fact, because the company was actually struggling. Now, of course, the company has $1 trillion market value. You apparently didn't take the meeting. In retrospect, do you wish you did?
You know, I've never spoken to Elon, and there are lots of companies out there that we could have bought at different times, probably. But I feel really good about where we are today. And
did you know he was trying to get to you?
I don't remember it being like that, but he said that he did, and so I assume that that's correct.